Hello and welcome everyone. It is finally here. We've finally done it. We finally collected all the Venom boss fight footage with the Sabretooth footage, and we're going to put it all together from an viewing experience where we'll have the full Venom boss fight side by side with the Sabretooth boss fight. You guys wanted this. This is going to be about a good hour-ish of content, so or to say. It's gonna come from two different channels. Three different channels actually, and I will link all the original channels in there. So, hopefully we can get some timestamps in here too, so people who are interested in only certain parts of the fight get to see the certain parts of the fight that they're interested in. If you haven't already hit the like button, make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, guys. I'm so happy to bring this to you. You asked for this, and I did it. I got all the footage. I lined it all up. It is perfectly symmetric for you. Let's get right into it.
Welcome back to another video on Marvel's Midnight Suns. I'm gonna shut up first for a cutscene.
Going to like this.
No.
I'll handle it. Not.
We do not fear your magic, little wizard. We have answered the mother's call. We are venom to all who oppose her. And you are large.
Alright, so, welcome back to another Marvel's Midnight Suns video, even. It's a singular video. This is going to be focused on the Fallen Venom boss fight. So this is the first superhero that you fight in this game. This is comprised of two different parts. So we've got this initial boss fight, which is about an hour into the game. And then you've got another one, which is about 4 hours into the game. I had to reload the game here because that was a weird crashing issue they had. So I had to basically save and reload. But it was a very early build, obviously. We're still a couple of months away from release, so nothing to worry about for release. Anyhow, so yeah, we have three heroes with us here. One of them you've seen in my previous video if you have seen it. If you haven't, make sure you check it out. It's an introduction to the game. I'll put a link in the description. That's Doctor Strange in the center there. He's slightly wounded because this is not the... this has a bit of a prologue to this mission. There's some other fights you do before you get to the actual boss fight with Venom. But as I said, yeah, this one is about an hour into the game, and then you've got another one which I'll show you as well in this video later on, which is about 4 to 5 hours into the game, fighting against Fallen Venom. So yeah, we have, as I said, our good friend Doctor Strange. We also have the Hunter, so that's the main character, the person that you play as in this game, and then you have two friends with you in the missions. But yeah, we're playing as the Hunter as well, and then we also have Blade. Which is pretty cool. So he's got some interesting, unique abilities as well. So there's lots of new stuff to see here. There's a couple abilities. I'm going through them as well because I have seen them in the fight that I did leading up to this boss battle. But they're still somewhat new to me as well at this point. So I'm still having a look. But you can see we've got some cards now that will give us quick. Choosing not to use one of those here. I chose to use a skill which will make or draw some cards and also make the next couple cards, damage cards, apply bleed, which would be very good against a boss who has tons of health. So, yeah, this is the Winds of Watum, which has knockback and quick. So that's one of those things I spoke about in my previous video, where if a card has quick, it will. Hopefully, I show it off here. It will basically give you your card play back, and you'll see it after, we'll say it here, card play refunded, which means that I get to, essentially I get my card play back, so I still have two. I used one obviously on the Make Them Bleed card, and then I used one just now, but I get that one back, so I don't have to worry about it. Then I switch to Doctor Strange. I can now also move around a little bit, so we move into a different position from where we can do our quick knockback. All heroes have like their own unique abilities to move as well, which is pretty cool. Spider-Man does this, obviously a web, fly all over the place. So yeah, we use the knockback quick, which will knock the minion into Fallen Venom, which is also a quick card. So again, doesn't cost us a card play.
Will make you feel
So you can combo these things together quite well, which is very nice. So now we have Agamotto's Gaze. I'm not sure if I end up using this one, but it basically gives you back the last 2 attack cards that you played. Doesn't have to be from Doctor Strange. It'll just do the last 2 that you played. So obviously I used an ability with the Hunter, and then I used an ability with Doctor Strange. I do end up using that one as well. We also start our next turn with 4 card plays. So we basically, instead of starting with 3, which is normally what you would get, you start with 4 instead. So we get to do more shit to him next turn. Because Fallen Venom has an ability that we want to be careful of, which is essentially if we attack him in melee, with any kind of melee ability, he will get a specific, it says it there, is it join us? Yeah, after being melee attacked, you basically have a chance of being bound by him if you attack him in melee again. Which then means you can't do any actions, but I think it happens to be in a minute, so you'll see exactly what happens. So yeah, we used one of the environmental things there as well, so we jumped on that little, I don't know, AC unit or whatever the fuck it is, and did some damage. We also, I believe that didn't count as an attack ability or attack card, so we didn't make Fallen Venom bleed. Not entirely sure about that. But yeah, I'm just kind of thinking what I want to do here. We got that quick slash again, but it has quick, so we don't really want to use our quick on an enemy that we can't kill off in a single turn. Because essentially it just doesn't really do anything. It doesn't give us the benefit of quick, so I end up redrawing it, see if I get something better. Ah, the Axe of Angaruma's pretty solid. 30 damage right there, applies to weak. So weak, I believe, makes the enemy do less damage. But this is a melee attack, so I'm pretty sure Doctor Strange gets bound here now, because I attacked him twice in a row yet. Oh, no, he gets a symbiote skin now. Which means if I were to attack him in melee again now, he would... there you go, it actually explains it to us here. Melee attacks against Fallen Venom can trigger his Join Us passive and activate Symbiote Skin. When Symbiote Skin is active, Fallen Venom will bind the next hero that does a melee attack against them. There you go, it shows it on the character as well. And basically, you can remove bound, I believe, by attacking the character that is bound, which doesn't do any damage to them, but it just removes the bound from them. But it does mean you have to use an ability on them. That's another thing that quick cards or knockback or something are really good at, because you can do multiple things at once. You don't just waste a full-on card play trying to unbind someone, because as long as they're bound, they can't do anything, and that's obviously not something you want. Bosses also don't show you who they're going to be attacking, so he's got a question mark above his head, that he did a minute ago anyway. And that means that we can't, we don't know who he's going to be attacking. He also gets multiple attacks. He is a boss after all. It'd be kind of weird if he just did like one little bound thing. Completely useless. Got some friends as well. So yeah, now it tells us about a bound hero. A hero is bound, unable to act even. Use other hero abilities to damage to binding and freedom. So we have to now use something on Blade to unbind him, essentially. You can see in the bottom right as well, we now have 4 card plays because we played, I think it was Agamotto's Gaze last turn. We got Blessing of the Vishanti, which will give all of the cards in our hand +6 damage, which is really useful. It's actually worth keeping things like this in mind as well, because I could have played a card like Make him Bleed, although currently Blade is bound, so we couldn't have, but if I unbound him first, then I could have drawn some more attack cards, and if I had then used that ability, I would have had more cards in my hand that are buffed. Because like I said last time as well, you do get to keep the cards that you keep in your hand. They will stay with you until the next turn. So there is like, you can buff cards and then basically get the benefit from them next turn if you don't use them this turn. So there is a reason to buff as many cards as possible, because even if you can't use them all right now, it will still benefit you in the future as well. So yeah, Agamotto's Gaze is another one. If I played this first, I could have had more attack cards in my hand that I could have buffed. So it's some of those things that I learned as I was playing, but didn't really think about while I was doing it. But you live and you learn, as I said. So yeah, we got a bunch of slashes. These are, you can see as well by obviously the card art who the character is that it belongs to. So the yellow, like gold ones like this are from the Hunter. The blue ones are from Doctor Strange, and then the red ones are from Blade. To make him bleed. Yeah, we haven't really seen him in action much. Hopefully I do use him more in this fight. I don't really remember. You'll see in the fight coming up after this. So this is, like I said, the first time you fight Fallen Venom, and you find him again a couple turns later, or a couple hours later. Sorry. In that one, I bring 2 different characters with me. One of them being Spider-Man, because you're forced to take him, which the story will kind of explain why. But I will do it shortly in this video too, because I don't want to show all the cutscenes. But yeah, you also I also use Magic, who I ended up really liking. She was probably one of my favorite characters in the end, because she's got some really cool abilities. I only used her for that final battle, but I was sad that I hadn't used her before that, because turns out she was really cool. So yeah, Blade I just used an ability with just now, which basically allows you to attack an enemy and then another enemy within a certain range, but I just chose to attack him twice instead, because obviously there was no one else in range. But that's one of those cards that would have been really great if I had buffed it, because then you get to double the damage twice, essentially. He really doesn't like Doctor Strange. I'm playing on normal difficulty, which you saw me select in the beginning of the previous video as well. If I were to play this again, I'd probably go a little higher. But there are, honestly, I mean, again, if you've seen it, there's like, I think, something like 8 different difficulties or something. Most of them you have to unlock. You actually see one of them being unlocked by the end of this video. But yeah, you have to unlock them, and but I probably would actually just play on hard or something, because when I played on normal, it did seem relatively simple. But we'll see. Seeing the game releases as well, often with preview events, I find that games are like toned down or something. I'm not sure if that's the case here, but sometimes that certainly is. So yeah, you can see I buffed a card here. It was the same card I played last round as well. This time it was buffed, and instead of doing 12 damage, it did 24 damage, because it's increased by 6 damage, but because it's 6 damage twice, normally it would, you know, 2 times 6 is 12. It becomes 2 times 12 is 24. Pretty good shit. I've got another. I've got a heal as well now. We later on, I believe, I used this in the final fight. We have unlocked a new card throughout my time playing, which was basically one of those, like, you can either heal an ally or attack an enemy, which is a really nice and versatile card as well that the hunter gets. You can essentially choose to go evil or good with him. It's something I haven't touched on at all yet, and I might do in a future video. Who knows? Yeah, you can choose to go good or evil, and I should shut up now.
Hold up. We don't know what we're dealing with yet.
Friendly. Seemed like you folks could use a hand, Doc.
Spider-Man!
Jeez, Eddie, what happened to you? That's sort of a horrifyingly terrible new look. The tongue was gross enough, but whoa! Someone is extra touchy today.
We will rip your face off and suck the marrow from your bones!
Always nice to see you too, buddy. So, I'm thinking your friends here could use a little break. How about I take Eddie here for his afternoon walk? Don't worry, Doc. That's just his way of saying he cares!
Okay, what you're about to see here is the second part of the boss fight that was mentioned in the previous part of the video. This is coming from a different channel as well. This is the original part where you have to actually save citizens before you get to fight Venom. So we're going to play this part out right now.
Things in the history. And recently we had a chance to go over the pond to go hands-on with the game, and in that time we got to play around sort of 5 hours of it, test out different mechanics, and in this video I want to showcase a boss battle between Spider-Man and Venom. So, first things first, if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think of this, let me know if you have any questions. Do be sure to keep it locked because we have got more videos coming your way, more stuff to share with you. But in this video, I want to go through and sort of talk about some of the stuff you will see in this gameplay. I do need to narrate some of this, so of course for those of you guys that will typically say, hey, just let the video speak, I will try and do it when I can, but I do need to basically give you guys some context. So, please forgive me. That being said, hopefully you also find it useful.
By her command!
First things first, if you haven't been following this game too much, or this is your first time hearing about it, then the game features a turn-based combat system where there are 3 superheroes and they use a card deck for each turn, which is comprised of a curated deck that is designed by the player. The combat that you'll see in this boss battle showcases the general flow of combat, where you ideally want to take out as many units on your turn as possible in order to prevent yourself from being overrun. What you're seeing in this gameplay is also from the early hours of the game. This is about sort of 5 hours in, so this obviously is from a preview build. Keep in mind things that you see may still be subject to change, but for those of you wondering sort of like how much life you're going to get out of this, supposedly the game is said to be around 60 hours. Speaking specifically about this mission, the Venom mission, this is broken into 2 parts. There's one part where you have to rescue civilians whilst taking out Hydra agents, and throughout the first part of this mission, you will need to be cautious of Venom's attacks, which will target a specific area of the map, although this can be used to your advantage because you can also bait him into damaging the Hydra agents directly. Meanwhile, the second part of this mission will be the boss battle against Venom directly, which of course you'll see in a bit. Now, I mentioned earlier on in the video that of course you can create different teams, sort of a different team comps based on sort of the characters that you have available or of course that you like. And this team setup consisted of the Hunter, which of course is the new character, alongside Magic and Spider-Man. Hunter was currently set up as an all-rounder. Meanwhile, Spider-Man tends to have cards which allow him to damage multiple targets with combos. And then Magic's Limbo Portal allows her to make full use of the terrain, collisions and environmental positions to create some really unique setups. Definitely a very, very useful addition specifically for this mission. Talking about some of the card mechanics, when defeating some enemies, this gives you access to unique cards which can be played during specific encounters. One of the ones you can see here are the defensive posture cards, which give all heroes a whopping 27 block. Block completely negates damage, so it's actually really useful when your heroes are in the thick of it. There are also some other really interesting additional mechanics in this game. There is Frenzy, which is this sort of mechanic that adds a fun wrinkle where enemies will attack after a few actions rather than at the end of your turn. So sometimes when you're trying to sort of predict things or plan for things, you need to think about more than just your basic turn cycles. Saving civilians will also cost heroism, which is a resource you'll spend on some of the more powerful moves, so it's a fine balancing act between doing damage to keep enemies at bay, as well as, of course, progressing with your weapon objective.
They will be the next to fall in the hunt.
Wow. You two ever work with a guy named Craven?
Forever in service.
Now's your chance to hone those skills of yours. Don't leave any Hydra standing.
One of the things that's really useful for the Hunter type character is the whip. This is a really useful move because it allows you to knock back enemies from extended ranges. You can see one of the examples here of the whip being used directly to throw enemies into each other's paths, or explosives to basically maximize your damage.
I'm hurt bad. It's not over yet, but it will be if this keeps up. As ordered. You are not ready for me.
Coming at you. This should help.
You're just lucky we aren't allowed to take your life.
Regroup and focus.
Unlike XCOM, the game is not played on a grid, but rather features full 3D movement akin to, say, like the Divinity series. So unlike a regular turn-based strategy where moves are your sole focus, squad placement plays an important part in the gameplay.
You guys are really gonna get hurt if you're not careful.
Not looking good here.
You won't survive another encounter with me.
Games! No more running! You can't stop us! Heroes! But we hope you try!
Alright, so you actually, before we get to this point in this mission, you actually did fight some regular old Hydra goons, whilst Venom was chucking shit at you as well, but I decided to leave that particular battle out because otherwise this video would just turn into a very long video. It's also kind of funny in the story, so I don't want to spoil too much because, you know, no one wants that. But I do want to mention something which is just kind of funny, where as I said, you fight Fallen Venom, and then, as you saw at the end of that cutscene just now, Spider-Man started distracting Fallen Venom. And then you go to your main hub, and you start doing a bunch of other missions and stuff, and then eventually it's like, oh, we should probably go help Spider-Man, which kind of implies that Spider-Man has just been distracting Venom for days, flying around the city or something, because that's when you get to this point in the mission, which is like several days later, literally in-game days, because that's like a mechanic in the game as well. And yeah, it's like several days later, and now it's like, oh yeah, we should probably go help that spider guy, because he's distracting Fallen Venom and reaping havoc around the city. Just kind of funny, but I don't know if it's like actually what's happening, but that's definitely what's heavily implied. But yeah. Anyway, so as you can see now, we have Spider-Man and we have magic, so we got a nice little different, or like, what am I trying to say? Nice little combination of different characters. So, well, I don't know if I use it here, but she has a really cool ability. I think I might use it later on in this fight. She has, yeah, she's definitely one of my favorite characters in the end. She has this thing where she can place a portal in any direction, essentially, and then you can knock an enemy into that portal and make him fly out elsewhere, essentially. You'll see exactly how it works later on, because I definitely do use it in this battle. But it's a cool way to basically, like, if, for example, you can see a bunch of explosives like that one right there, and there's one on the other side as well. Like, there's things around here that I can't quite use normally, but I can make a portal appear next to it, then push the enemy into said portal and make him fly into something like that. I think I actually end up doing it here, I'm not sure. It's just a really cool ability. It's a free portal as well, or a free card, so this doesn't cost a card play. Otherwise it'd be like 2 cards for something that it's kind of cool, but it doesn't do like an insane amount of damage or anything. Feels wasted. But no, in this case it's free. It does obviously take a card in your hand. You only draw so many cards per turn, but I still feel it's pretty good. So now when you use any kind of knockback, it automatically goes into the portal, so I don't have to like choose it or anything. So she knocks them into the portal, comes out, flies into the detonate. It's just such a cool thing, and you can really do some awesome things with that. And this is where the strategy starts coming into play as well. You'll see it's a little bit more interesting. Some people in the introduction video were complaining that there wasn't enough interesting stuff. It seemed simple, and I was like, it's an introduction though? Like, this is literally the first mission in the game. I don't know what you're expecting exactly. That was the second time I attacked him in melee though, so I automatically got bounced, so that's what I was talking about earlier as well. And then the hunter gets absolutely fucking ruined by good old Fallen Venom. He's got this interesting ability where he basically goes down on all fours and he becomes an AoE bomb, and you want to definitely get out of there because otherwise you take a bunch of damage. The nice thing about things like this is, though, I don't know if I end up doing it. You can see it already. There's one enemy that's actually in range. So if he were to get hit by... If he basically... That attack is going to go off first. That guy just straight up dies. If I don't have to even kill him anymore. I don't have to worry about him. You can actually knock people into it as well. So if I were to... You know, if there was a bigger enemy nearby, I could knock him into that AoE and just have Venom do the work for me, essentially, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so there's just lots of stuff to consider, lots of strategy that comes into this. Obviously, there's a deck building mechanic as well. So we get to... I've already changed some cards in here. I obviously haven't changed that, or haven't shown that, I mean. Perhaps I will do a video on the little card building that I've done. I didn't do a ton of it. I end up using this guy here instead to get rid of the thing to unbind magic. Yeah, I might do a video, not specifically on card building, but I might include it or something. I'm not entirely sure yet. Again, if you have any ideas for videos, please do let me know. But yeah, so there is some deck building that I've done, but I didn't do a whole lot of it, so it'd be difficult to make a whole video on it. I could show different abilities that everyone's got as well, and my favorite kinds of abilities, which that magic one would certainly be one of them. This ability from Spider-Man is super useful against bosses. I don't know if I end up using it. I do. Well, that's great. So you can basically see it's essentially what he does, except it just costs me 1 card to do it. So I've bound him. He now doesn't get to do his AoE anymore, and he loses an ability, essentially. So he can't do as much anymore on his next go-around. There's that holy flame I was talking about earlier, so we have the choice to either do damage or heal, which is really nice. It's like a good amount of damage or healing as well, which is just a very solid card in general. We do take a bunch of bleeding damage. But yeah, I was talking about the fact that you can go either good or evil, which is something that we didn't get to see a ton of, like what it's gonna mean exactly for your character, but you can kind of assume that there are going to be repercussions for being either good or evil. I always play these kind of games being a good guy. Oh, this ability is so good as well. So she's got Gather, which does 18 damage to all enemies around it. It's a heroic card, so it does cost 2 heroism, which is just absolutely nothing, but it puts everyone in the center, basically. It also allows me to move him, so it's a very, it's not a huge move or anything, but I did move him a little bit. I actually almost put Spidey in range, but I can just move Spidey away from there. Well, he's not even in range. I can move Magic away from there if I want to, but now I've got Whip again, so I can just apply Bind once again, which actually once again gets rid of his ability. It's just such a solid thing against bosses. Get level ups as well, so there are level ups. I think we may have already seen one earlier. They essentially increase your health. They also increase your offensive rating, but what that means exactly, I'm not actually quite sure right now. I think it means that you essentially have like an increased chance to critically hit and stuff like that, but I'm not 100% sure what it does. Pain is angering. Sure is. Yeah, so we're just binding him and then nuking him down as much as we can. I'll probably go for an... Oh, no, I don't. I thought maybe I'd go for a redraw or something, but I guess my cards were good enough for me. So he probably gonna just go on all fours again. He really loves that ability. Now this time he fucking chucked me into Spider-Man, which hurts the both of us. The Hunter's actually getting a little bit low now because I just been taking quite a bit of damage over time. More reinforcements incoming, but I think we just probably get that AoE again. The AoE is just insane. We didn't actually get it this time. But yeah, Magic just seems like a really, really solid character. Like, she's just got such good offensive abilities, and also just like actual unique shit with the, like I said, the fact that you can big ol' heal. The fact that you can knock enemies back into just it's I don't know. It's just cool. I don't know how to explain it. Not just even the fact that you can move them into like explosives and shit, but even like just moving them away. Like if something does have like a massive AoE, because there's enemies that will like blow themselves up as well. It's like, okay, well, I'll just send you over here, then you can go blow up your friends or whatever. It's just like the depth. It's definitely there. But yeah, just going through all my my different cards. I don't have anything particularly good. I probably could have gone for some redraws first, see if I get something cool. We do have the quick knockback, which is just solid in general. Kill both those guys, get the card play back. Doesn't cost me anything, except for a card, of course. Yeah, probably do go for some redraws. I imagine some. Oh no, I start knocking him into this, into the what do you call that? The railing, several times in a row now. It's interesting as well because he's like immune to knockback, but then we have that powerful knockback, which does work, or maybe the knockback generally works. Now I know there was a situation where he was immune to it. I have Spider Sense as well, so that's a skill card which draws us more Spider-Man cards. There's a similar card, for example, for Captain Marvel as well, which will draw up to 3 Captain Marvel cards. And it's one of those solid things where you essentially want to use it when you have only 1 card left, which is the card that draws more, because it draws up to. So if you already have 3 of them and you use the card, you essentially only draw 1 new one. But if you have none of them, or only the card that gives you the ability to draw new ones for Captain Marvel, specifically Captain Marvel cards, you just use all the other ones first, use that one, get 3 new cards, and again you get to keep those during end turns as well, so you don't have to use them. There's one of those interesting things here as well, where I'm not sure exactly how this works with the health bar, but obviously we knocked him down. He has a second health bar. However, I do wonder if I had knocked him down and then hit him again, would he have died immediately? I was out of card play, so I couldn't test this, but I do wonder if that actually would have worked. But I'll never know until I get my hands on the game again, unfortunately. Yeah, move Spider-Man into a better location so we can do some There's that move that I was telling you. It's just cool how everyone moves their own way. It makes sense. But yeah, we do a little knockback, which is quick. So again, we kill 2 guys, and we get our card plate back. No worries at all. And then we have to just start nuking our good friend Fallen Venom again. We get some more forceful knockback. Knock him into the railing again. I was a little confused there because it showed me that I could do damage when knocking him into it, but then at one point it didn't do any damage, and then it did again. Probably this visual glitch is, again, it's an early build. It's not the finished product yet. I've been trying to avoid using the whip. I'm not sure if you guys noticed. Yeah, now I can knock him back with regular knockbacks as well. Because the whip actually costs you it discards a card, and obviously that makes your hand smaller, which is something you would generally try and avoid doing, because like I said, you get to keep your cards during the end turn. It is a strong card though. Forceful knockback in general is very good. We can knock him in any direction too. So normally you can only knock people in, like, away from you, essentially, 90 degrees, but with the forceful knockback you can do it in any direction you want, which is really solid. But again, the downside is you discard a card immediately, which kind of sucks. Gonna bound magic again. Absolutely slap me into Spider-Man once more. When I say me, I do mean the Hunter. Strong abilities. It is cool, but I still feel like normal difficulty is probably a little bit too simple. Boom, all the cards in the world. There's the Holy Flame again. Good old 19 damage. I think I just started nuking him down at this point. Got Chain Strike. So that's another great one for this. So we can get rid of the bound, and we can hit him for a little bit as well. It does seem very, like, aggressive to just try and get rid of some bound stuff from Venom by absolutely kicking the shit out of our friend. But anyway. I don't even know if I have enough damage in my hand, but I can always just redraw some cards and look for something better. It also shows you, in case you hadn't noticed, like, where your character will end up when you use the card. So yeah, redraw that one. We had Whip, so now I know, okay, I've got enough damage for sure. So I think I don't use this. Oh, or maybe I do. Seems like a weird choice to go for that one first. I should have done my other damage first and then use this one afterwards. But clearly, I'm an absolute noob and I don't know what I'm doing. So there you go. Because it could have easily discarded, like, Holy Flame and I wouldn't have enough damage left. But anyway, that's going to be that. We have a cutscene after this. But after that, video is basically over.
Unstoppable. Oh, he's not unstoppable. Just really annoying. Huh. Not my worst idea ever. Good afternoon, Demo Venom! Here's a special request from all of New York to you, our slobbiest invaders since Thanos.
Going to say, amazing.
That's what the kids tell me. I think I'll pass out now.
Don't worry. I know a safe place.
So yeah, this is basically the last point up to which we were allowed to record as well. Just so you guys know. Basically, after this, I had to turn my recording software off. We were allowed to keep playing a little bit more, but we weren't allowed to record anymore. But yeah, you can see I unlocked Heroic 1 difficulty as well.
Wow, what a fight. Fallen Venom is nothing to sneeze at. He's extremely strong, and I like the way that magic works. Spider-Man with the refunding the cards and abiding the enemy. Spider-Man seems to be a great ally to have for boss fights. Now, originally there was information on Sabretooth, so you guys wanted it, and here it is. I'm gonna bring you the Sabretooth fight. This video is very long, but this is what you guys wanted, so we'll drop this in the middle of the week so you guys have something to watch. But now let's transition over to the Sabretooth fight, and we introduce another new hero.
More appear in their place.
Patience. Hydra certainly lives up to their name.
I've hunted an actual Hydra. That was easier.
Easier than this. I live up to my name, too. Hell of a price Crossbones put on your head, runt. Too bad he never said it had to stay attached to your body. Well, too bad for you. Big words for a dead man.
You got one thing right today, Sabretooth. Heads are definitely about to roll.
Oh, look. Another mangy stray.
You smell wrong.
Compared to him,
Good point.
Now I get to kill 2 runts with 1 claw. Maybe I should be paying Hydra.
Hey guys, I would be lying if I would say I'm not excited about this very iconic duo, this battle between Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Yeah, and as you saw there, just one of the cinematics. We have hours of cinematics in the game. Obviously, we're telling a very deep story, and part of that story, of course, is introducing these villains. And this is the first villain we've shown, but we have a large cast of characters, not just heroes. We've got, again, as I said, 12 Marvel heroes plus the Hunter. We also have a large cast of villains for the player to fight against. It's what makes Lilith so powerful. So again, she's the ultimate enemy. The thing that's cool about her, if you imagine the most dangerous people in the Marvel Universe, she's equally dangerous because she can corrupt people with a single touch. So not only do you fight villains like Sabretooth here, but you'll fight what we call Fallen, where Lilith has corrupted villains. She's corrupted even heroes that the player's gonna have to fight against over the course of the game. So yeah, very deep narrative. A lot of narrative comes out, not just through cinematics, but also you'll experience in-game as well. And now we're fighting against Sabretooth. And yes, you're right, this is an iconic matchup, right? Wolvie, the best at what he does. Yep. Sabretooth, kind of good at what he does. But he's deadly. Like, Sabretooth is a very deadly character. And so you're gonna have to require your entire team to take him out. All of our villains have a bunch of unique abilities and also a unique flair to them. Sabretooth, the idea behind Sabretooth is that he has an ability called Frenzy, and that means that every time you take an action, he may respond, right? So you have to be really careful. You have to be very efficient in what you do because Sabretooth responds very quickly. So you can take 2 actions, then he's gonna fight back.
So you have to anticipate when he goes on that frenzy, kind of.
Yes, for now. But yeah, I mean, I love Sabretooth. We've introduced, here we're introducing Wolverine for the first time. This is where you meet him. This is pretty far into the game, probably. I mean, actually this game's very long, so not that far, but this is a good 10, 12 hours into the game when you meet Wolverine and you unlock him. So there are characters you unlock through play. This is the moment when you sort of meet Wolverine for the first time. And so, again, Wolverine, a completely different playstyle, completely unique set of abilities.
Can you go into his abilities a little bit more? Like, what makes him so unique and different from the other characters?
Yeah, so if you think about Wolverine, he's very savage. He has the ability to attack multiple targets. So he has what we call chain. He has a lot of ability that chain to multiple targets. And at the same time, he can taunt enemies. And that means that he can draw their fire. When he attacks them, then enemies target Wolverine after that. And that's great because Wolverine has the ability to regenerate health. He's very low on health here. Garth, you doing okay, bud?
Let's use a little berserk. I'm gonna get some life steal on there if you want to mention that.
No, that's fine.
I believe in you, Garth. Like, you can do this.
Fine. As you can see, Sabretooth, huge health bar.
Heavy hitter. Definitely heavy hitter.
Definitely a heavy hitter. And so that's good. Wolverine has got some life steal going on and sent that guy to the moon. But yeah, this is the problem with Sabretooth, right? Is that he just doesn't stop. And this matches how he is in the comics as well. Like, Sabretooth doesn't stop, you know?
Yep.
So you have to always kind of be on your toes here.
All right. What are we doing, Garth? Like,
we got him.
We got him. Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm actually going to.
You're going to position yourself, use the environment.
Okay. Right.
One thing that's worth pointing out is that as you move, you can continue to move until you use an ability, right? And so you can position yourself just perfectly. Until you use an ability, you can continue to move around the map.
And you know, the movement balance is one of my favorite parts as movement. If you play tactics, you know how critical it is. But it's this wonderful balance of you can choose to play more methodically and find that single precise movement position to take advantage of the enemies, but it's not every single turn, every single action you make that decision.
Can't heal. Have to keep going.
You'll do.
Yeah, this has been really fun. I want to thank everyone for watching this project. Little lengthy. This is probably the longest Midnight Suns video we did. So thank you for getting through the video. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, tell me who do you think it would be more fun fighting? Falling Sabretooth or Fallen Venom? Let me know in the comment section below, who do you look forward to kicking around a little bit. Supposedly, Lilith is going to make a lot of villains and heroes fallen, and we might actually be able to recruit them after the combat. I don't know. Right now, that's complete speculation. But thank you so much for watching this video. This is your weekly video. Also, we'll be having more Marvel Avengers videos coming out this week. There should be a lot more information on Jane Foster. She supposedly is supposed to drop at the end of this week, so we'll see about that. But thank you so much for watching, guys. You guys are awesome. I love you all, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.